Yes, guys, here we are live in the field.
When we see that people are willing to go beyond the artificial fear in order to see reality, just like that act of like you are not alone.
This injustice is happening, that the Palestinians are still so resilient. Palestine is beautiful. I lived in the Netherlands until I was 29, when I for the first time started traveling and went to Palestine. My first visit was in 2006, and it was a trip to visit Israeli people I met in the Netherlands. They were activists against the wall. I didn't know anything about Palestine. And I did ask some of these Israeli activists, is there a way to go to the Palestinian side? And they were all telling me that it's dangerous and you shouldn't go there on your own. So I went back to Holland and I never saw any Palestinians. I thought. Later I realized that I probably saw a lot of Palestinians, but I didn't identify them as such, because Jerusalem is full of Palestinians, but they are called by the Israelis Arab Israelis. Then I went back to the Netherlands and I found a website where you could register to come to Palestine to help with the olive harvest. And that changed my life. I started to realize what's happening in Palestine, and it was the beginning of a new chapter in my life. Palestinians are definitely not like what they had imagined. Then what happened in 1948 is that because the Zionist movement decided that they wanted to create a Jewish state in Palestine, they created a state that was only for one kind of people, which were the Jewish people. And that meant that only the Jewish people had certain rights, and that Palestinians who were not Jewish, the Christians and the Muslims, didn't have these rights. I see that, of course, in the media they are often portrayed as angry, fighting, protesting, crying. Right now I am studying here to become a tour guide in Palestine. Married since 7 years, I have 2 children. Our future is going to be here. My children only have the Dutch nationality, because since my husband doesn't have a nationality, he is stateless. These people were the natives of the land of Palestine, and until today you have these people, they are just living here. They were born here, they grew up here.
I was born to a family that ended up being expelled into Bethlehem back in 1948 as homeless people, until they managed to afford buying a piece of land with a cave on it. I have a countless number of aunts and uncles that I've never met, simply because they couldn't survive homelessness. The best way to reestablish your life is to invest in education. So my parents worked hard to send us to a private school. I finished high school and then went directly to Birzeit University, where I did a degree in sociology. After my education and went to work in Sri Lanka for a year, my experience more like life-changing, because when I was in Sri Lanka, I started realizing that people do not know the reality on the ground, because the main way for people to know about what's happening to us is through Western media, which already gives you a very confusing and inaccurate description of what's happening on the ground. Then I got an opportunity to go volunteering upstate in New York, and it was shocking to know how little people actually know about the reality. That was a confrontational experience where I tried to explain certain things. Like they think they know, while in fact, like their knowledge is covered with misinformation. So I decided to come back home from the States and look for opportunities to do work in Palestine that would have certain impact on people outside, like help people outside understand what's going on. Work on an advocacy campaign called the olive tree campaign, where we call on people from around the world to sponsor the planting of an olive tree, and then we tell them the story of the family and the family and the land in which the tree was planted. Olive trees that have been providing life and fruit and food for people for thousands and thousands of years, and then you come in and explain the different ways in which the State of Israel destroys a million ancient olive trees. It kind of adds another layer of understanding of the true nature of our oppressor, which is like an oppressor that wants to eliminate everyone, wants to eliminate the culture that exists here, wants to eliminate Palestinians, eliminate the connection of Palestinians to their homeland, the denial of existence of the indigenous population of Palestine. So we invite people to also take part in a few days of planting. So we plant olive trees for many reasons, like why we plant olive trees. One is to maintain a 4,000 years old culture. The second thing is it's one of the very few trees that survive the restrictions of the State of Israel. Like the State of Israel, like they could rob Palestinian families of their property by force, and the main thing we do is to occupy space on TV screen where we are being murdered or tortured or oppressed or you know. So the State of Israel has created like a situation of fear. I wanted to focus more on education in Palestine, and we believe in a way that we have responsibility on helping people understand what's going on in Palestine as a pre-step for activism, the growing, movement of social justice and justice in Palestine. Like you need to have some kind of comprehensive understanding on the reality that Palestinians are, how we are being mistreated by the State of Israel, what conditions are imposed on them by the State of Israel, and how we survive. At the end of the day, Israel and Palestine are two different of that same geography, and that geography is controlled completely by the State of Israel.
So this is my message to the world. Palestine is beautiful. You can visit and you should visit.
So to be there was established to help create an understanding of what's going on for the sake of feeding the expanding international solidarity initiatives around the world. To be there means that you have to be physically in Palestine, emotionally and mentally, in order to understand, feel, and use all your senses, as you walk through this ancient, holy land.
And to the people of Palestine, I have so much respect for the resilience and for staying put while all the forces are trying to drive you out of your land. Justice will prevail. I am Kristel, the host of Stories from Palestine podcast.
I am Baha Hilo. I'm a co-founder of To Be There.
And this is my voice on hashtag.
And this is my voice for hashtag To Be in Palestine.